So it wasn't so long ago when I remember reading stories about vice squads harassing people in the LGBTQIA plus community. It wasn't so long ago when I had a family member who never ever came out, not really even to us, for fear of rejection. And it wasn't so long ago when the idea of being out and proud, or even having a service like this in this sanctuary celebrating gay pride, most likely wouldn't have happened. It's funny when we think about how much has changed, and yet how much still needs to change and continue forward. Interesting now when we think about gay pride, that instead of being harassed by police officers escort parade attendees and protect them. The police now even will join and may even have some out officers themselves. The companies who once shunned hiring people in the LGBTQIA plus community have gone so far this past month of adding a rainbow to their logo and altering it to make it all the more fun and colorful. We can see that beyond just fascinating and beautiful labels, that there have been true legal steps forward, that there is such thing as same-sex marriage, that those marriages are honored and rights just as much as anybody else. And what a joy it is to recognize that in 31 countries around the world, same-sex marriage is now accepted. Even in Israel, where you cannot get married, they will accept a marriage. But don't worry, I don't think it's as much to do there about LGBT issues. Reform rabbis aren't so much permitted to perform weddings either. I think it has more to do with the power of the rabbinut. But that's a side conversation for a different day. It made me realize, in thinking about all of the steps forward, that a recent Pew study had, you can get this, 67% of Americans in 2021 accepting LGBTQ marriage. That's a big shift, even from when I was a child. And when I think about it from the perspective of our LGBTQ friends, I was reminded of a story in the Torah, one where the spies went into the land of Israel, and it says there that they reported that we look like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we must have seemed to them. These spies, of course, are describing how they felt small compared to the giants that were full and living in the land of Israel, that everybody seemed to be on this one path, except these spies seemed to mark themselves off as different, smaller, and not a part of the broader community. And it made me think how frequently people feel at various moments as if they themselves are grasshoppers, smaller than others, and how many people in the LGBTQ plus community have felt for generations as if they were a grasshopper, marginalized, small, hopping around, but barely noticed and accepted for who they truly are in all of their glory. And it made me question further, in light of today's latest news, how can we ensure that everybody in our community feels seen and valued and heard for who they are? And so as we go forward and we honor everybody, as I think the point of this service goal is, for who they are, may we continue to have those questions in mind of ways that we guarantee people don't feel like small grasshoppers, but that even people who once were on the margins are celebrated now, and anybody who is still on the margins, we can turn around, uplift, and make them feel that they are valued and a child of God. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.